Was it? I just got back last night, late last night, from doing a pre-ride with some Seattle International Randonneurs, myself, Keith, Sora, Tony, and David. And I finally got David's name right. It took a while. We were doing the pre-ride for the Seattle International Randonneurs Spring 600K.
Okay, I brought my bag, so if anybody has anything on the ride they need carried, I can carry it. I also brought a bunch of nummy Filipino treats. I got some pan de coco, I got some mung bean hopia. Everything got a little squished on the ride over, but it's still gonna taste great. It's a little warm too, so I'm gonna put it in the fridge. Okay, bye. Good morning. Today, I'm joining a few other Seattle International Randonneurs. We're doing the pre-ride for the Spring 600K. It starts in Bainbridge Island in Western Washington State, and it's going to go up and back down, and then head west around the peninsula, and then excuse me, and then head up north, up to Forks. Forks is the overnight. We are starting rather late for a 600K. We're starting at 7:30 at the bike barn, which is very close to the Bainbridge Ferry.
On paper, this route doesn't look too bad. However, day one kind of kicks you in the butt. It's got a lot of stingers. It didn't help that we had a mighty headwind, but the weather was awesome and the company was amazing.
I kind of wish we started already, because we're not going to get to the overnight until probably midnight. And that leaves us very little sleeping time for day two. And this will actually be my first 600K where I've stopped at the overnight. Traditionally, I just ride through. But this is a pre-ride. So we want to make sure all the roads are open, safe, the route makes sense. Yeah. Okay, see you out there.
Because of the route, the day one and day two had to be separated a little differently than normal. Traditionally, a 600K, day one will be the 400K, and day two will be 200K. But this time, day one was 339K, and day two, 265K. Just over 600 kilometers? I think that's right.
We're in Paulsville?
Yes.
Paulsville bathroom. Oh, cut through to avoid the intersection?
Yeah, that left turn.
Okay.
I mean, we still need to make the left.
Ah. Okay. I don't know if that shortcut was any safer. So it turns out they just opened today for the season.
Good timing.
It's good timing, so we're very lucky. They're very kind. It seems like a family store.
For the most part, on day one, we stuck together as a group. Except for Tony. Tony is, I promised him I wouldn't say how old he was, but Tony is an amazing human being. That guy has defied all odds. I want to be Tony when I grow up.
I drove right by you.
Oh.
I was zeroing in. I thought it was one of those things.
There is Sora. Who's the other one? John or Paul?
David.
David, shit. How's it?
But Tony, he a lot of times would be way ahead of the group. However, he waited at the controls while he ate snacks and rehydrated, rehydrated, hydrated. And then when we showed up, we all got to talk a little story, chit chat, and same thing over. Tony would ride on, and then we catch up at the control, blah, blah, blah. Starting in Bainbridge Island, we had to go north towards Paulsbo in order to go back down towards Bremerton, and then towards Shelton, or Belfair, then Shelton. I don't know. Head west, and then back up north towards Forks. Stops along the way included Dayton, Matlock, Oakwyham, Tulips, some other places I've already forgotten.
Okay, I'm finally familiar where I'm at because I've never spent any time in Bainbridge Island or Bremerton. But here we are again now on the peninsula, where I've taken this route several times, 101 to 102. But this time I think we're going fastest. I was really hoping we weren't going down 102, but we are. Here we are on Highway 102. Usually I'm stuck on here between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. I'm not a fan during those times, and now we're during busy time. But once we get past the correctional facility, the traffic should die down. Hello from close to Montesano? I don't know. The weather's beautiful. The ride is great. Anthony, he's the stronger rider. He's already way up there. I just parted ways with him because I'm waiting for Keith, Sora, and I can't remember if his name is John Paul or Mike. I don't know. But they should be here soon. We just got done with a big gravel climb. Ugh. Okay, bye! Was that awesome or what?
That's a bit of gravel. I was hoping you'd wait for us here.
Yay! Hello, hello,
Hello.
hello. The heck happened here?
When the sun went down, it still gets really cold here in Western Washington. It got all the way down to 41 degrees. I think that's 5 degrees Celsius. And unfortunately, I'm not sure where my head was at, but I only brought my bib shorts, a jersey, and a windbreaker. I did have a puffy jacket in my saddlebag. I always bring a puffy jacket, no matter how cold or hot. If I'm in Utah and it's 100 degrees, I still bring my puffy jacket. We stopped at a pizza place in Amanda Park. It was starting to get dark and it was starting to get really cold. I am always cold. I have to put out a crazy effort just to stay warm. I asked the group, not Tony, of course, because Tony was already gone, but I asked them if they would mind if I rode ahead just so I can keep warm. And they totally understood.
Head from the group, Keith, Sora, and David, because I was so cold. So I'm staying warm. Hopefully I can catch Anthony since my GPS has been not great. There he is. Perfect. I see him up there.
When I caught him, we were on Highway 101. We had to turn on, I believe it was called clear water, and the sun was pretty much down at this point. And that road, as you go into the whole rainforest, was black. The little bit of moonlight we were getting did not shine through there at all because there is quite the mass of evergreen trees.
Notes for the pre-ride. This road, Clearwater, I think, is very dark. It is one of the darker roads I've been on.
It was cold. It was so cold. I knew it was only temporary. However, it was torture. I was going so hard just to get to the hotel. So I said a lot of QOMs, which is fun, but also not a lot of women have ridden that route. Uh, that's also a plus.
Okay, I made it to Forks. I'm freezing. Time is 1:10 a.m. Now I just gotta find the hotel.
I finally got to the hotel, the overnight hotel, at 1:10 a.m. While I was there, I turned on the heat up to 80. That was the highest it would let me do it. That way it was warm. When my roomie, Sora, got there, she was still back with Keith and David. And it turns out I had dropped Tony in the dark because he's not used to riding in the dark. And that's when I ride. That is my normal time. So for me, it's very natural and I feel very comfortable.
I made it to the hotel in Forks for the Seattle International Randonneurs pre-ride of the Spring 600K. Today was leg one. There's a late start, and that's kind of a big deal. Yeah. Tomorrow's leg one. No, tomorrow's leg two. Oh my God, I need to go to sleep. I'm gonna go to sleep. Oh, here we are. Setting out for leg two of the SIR 600K. It's about 7 o'clock in the morning in Forks. We've all had breakfast. I think we each got about 2 hours of sleep, maybe.
On day two, there's a fun little out and back. I don't know the area so well, and it's the first time I've been there. It goes out to La Push or Mora, but it's amazing. Oh my God, it is so beautiful. beautiful.
Oh my.
Holy smokes! Oh my goodness, Keith!
Is that gorgeous or what?
Beautiful.
It wasn't long that we realized everybody's just going to have to do their own thing on day 2. The out and back, we were all together. No. The out, we were all together. The back, no.
Day 2 of the Seattle International Randonneur. Spring 600K pre-ride. About 35 miles in. Everybody's feeling pretty tired. A lot of climbing. Got pretty cold last night. Late start meant late arrival. But the whole group's kind of disbanded. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing. Makes sense. But we stopped at a little mini mart, met there for a minute, went along our way, got myself some more candy bars.
Though we were all doing our own ride at that time, we were all still taking notes for the pre-ride. But we stopped at a little mini mart off of Highway 101 before heading towards the control called Gold Creek Trailhead for the Olympic Discovery Trail. And that's where we discussed that everybody's just going to go at their own pace because everybody's feeling a different kind of way.
All right, this is Control, the Camp Creek Trailhead. Okay, there is bathrooms, that's a plus. On the Olympic Discovery Trail, that's the name. There was a bit of a climb, so I'm having trouble with the breakfast. Okay.
The Olympic Discovery Trail is not some short little trail. It is huge. It's long. I don't even know exactly how long, but I felt like we spent almost 100 miles on that thing. That's what it felt like. I could not wait to get off of the Olympic Discovery Trail. There is just too many pedestrians. Again, my normal ride time is not during normal people hours. I am kind of a graveyard shift person, not at work, but just in life. I really enjoy the silence of the night and the peacefulness and the safeness of it all.
Okay, my camera died, so I had to recharge on the road. However, the last big place was the Olympic Discovery Trail around Crescent Lake, and that was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. It is so busy there. Bikes should not even be allowed. Seriously, I don't ever want to return to the Olympic Discovery Trail there ever again.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't wait to get back on Highway 101. Down in Crescent Lake, people keep telling me it's so great. I think they called it Joyce, and I'm sure it is. But for me, it was a complete nightmare. This was down at Crescent Lake now. And I think it's Crescent Lake. I hope I'm not saying that wrong. Again, I am the worst Western Washington native ever. I know nothing. No rain gear, no fender, no knowledge. I just try to survive.
On mile 95 on the trail through Port Angeles, or just past it, there's a pretty steep downhill with really bad pavement, big potholes and cracks. Then right after the little wooden trestle, I gear up real quick because it gets steep. Oh boy, is it steep. Oh, that's empty.
I made sure to take a lot of mental notes, especially between Port Angeles and Squim, because the ODT is really narrow and it gets very steep. Not only is it steep, but the trail is really degraded. I'm just not going through. It's really degraded. There's a lot of cracks, a lot of potholes. Not only does it look dangerous for people on bike, but also for people on foot. However, for people on bike and on foot at the same time, super dangerous. Be careful. Don't go too fast, but be prepared for it to go right back up right when you're done going down, because that's what it does.
Okay, mile 99 or so, 99.2, taking a left back onto the trail, parallel with 101. It is steep, and there's pedestrians, so be careful.
The Olympic Discovery Trail, the ODT, went on forever and ever and ever. And periodically there'd be fun little coffee stops, bathroom breaks. There's a lot of public bathrooms on the trail, which is a plus. And finally, near Discovery Bay, they spit you back out on Highway 101, where it connects on to Highway 104, where then you go through Island County and head back down to Bainbridge. Yes.
That was nasty.
Day one didn't have an exponential amount of climbing. It was only maybe 10,000 feet, 10, 11,000 feet. So nothing crazy, nothing unusual, but it felt hard. I think because the hills weren't long and steady, they were just sharp. Not short, but they were very sharp. Day two didn't have much climbing at all. After finishing the ride, the finish was not the bike barn, but instead at a nearby hotel. I rode straight to the ferry terminal where there was a lot of people on bikes waiting to get on the ferry. I'd never seen that many. The holiday weekend made for such a different experience. Yeah, it's crazy.
There's bikes. Half of them's not even using the road. I had to put my bike right up there, all by itself, way up there.
After I got off the ferry, I headed straight to the light rail station where I caught the Link light rail north. And then from the Link light rail, I had to get on another bus and catch that even further north. But what was good was it took me so long to get home after I finished, over 3 hours, that everybody was already done. They made it back to the finished hotel safe. Everyone texted each other. So that was good to know. That was the Seattle International Randonneurs pre-ride for the spring 600K. It's going to be fun. I promise it's going to be fun. And it won't be on a holiday weekend. So it's going to be very fun. Yes. All right. Bye.